Welcome back to Gary's Economics. Today's video is called Teaching You How to Trade. Okay, so one of the most common comments that we get on our videos is why do you bother making all of these videos trying to save the economy? If you're such a good trader, why don't you just teach us all to trade and then we could all be millionaires? So I wanted to talk a little bit about trading, about my trading, about teaching friends to trade, and basically why I don't focus the channel on teaching how to trade. So I was a trader, it's spoken about a bit on the channel, from 2008 until 2014. I was an interest rate trader for Citibank. In 2011, I was Citibank's top trader in the world, so I was a very effective trader. I made a lot of money for the bank, I made a lot of money for myself. In 2014, I retired from trading professionally, and I didn't actually do any trading for myself until the end of 2017. And that wasn't much, and I didn't really get back involved in trading until the beginning of COVID, so early 2020, about 2.5 years ago. And I think that should probably tell you something in itself, that even though I was a very successful professional trader, once I quit, I didn't really do much trading at all for more than 5 years, myself individually. And the main reason for that is that trading is really hard. Even if you're good at it, you only make money trading if you know things that other people don't know, if you have information other people don't know, or some analysis other people don't know. And you're essentially competing with other people who are working full-time. You know, when I was a full-time trader, I was up every day at 5 a.m. reading all the news. You know, I had thousands of emails every day, analysis, and I was reading all that analysis, talking to other traders, looking at the economy all the time to try and understand what was happening. And now, you know, in the last 8 years since I was a professional trader, you know, I do a lot of other things. I sit at home. I'm not watching the news all the time. I'm not watching the markets all the time. And if I'm going to make money trading, I have to be competing with somebody who is doing this full time every day. So I think, you know, you have to respect that if you think you can make money trading, you're saying you can compete with the best people who are working all the time. And as me, somebody now who still follows markets a lot and still does trade a lot, I understand and I respect that I'm not a full-time trader anymore. So I don't take too many big risks, because I understand that me sitting here, you know, making YouTube videos, sitting at home writing a book, is not always in a position to compete with the people who are fully watching it all the time. But that said, at the beginning of COVID, there were a lot of I understood at the beginning of COVID that the economy was not going to pan out the way people thought it would. And that was because generally as a trader, my belief was that the significance of inequality on the economy was not understood. So when inequality changes massively, you can make money in the markets, because traders and economists and participants in markets generally don't understand how big an effect the change in inequality will have on the economy. And I think COVID was a massive opportunity from a trading perspective, because if you were to look at the beginning of COVID, it was very clear right at the beginning of COVID that it was going to cause a massive increase in inequality. But in general, economists don't focus on inequality, even traders. You know, we could talk about why they don't, and I think I'll probably put a video out, you know, why economists don't look at inequality. But I knew at the beginning of COVID there was going to be a massive increase in inequality. I think anybody who bothered to look at it could have worked it out, but because economists don't look at it much, they didn't really realize that. So because of that, you know, I put a video out a few weeks ago, how inequality affects the economy. Because we knew inequality was going to increase massively, we can make some predictions about the economy. We know that, for example, asset prices will rise, because if a lot of money goes to rich people will buy assets. We know that living standards will fall, because if ordinary people are made poorer, then they can't spend as much stuff. That drives the economy down, because there's less spending and there's more saving. So very early on, I was able to predict massive increases in asset prices and a very weak economy. At the beginning of COVID, most predictions were that asset prices would fall. And in fact, many asset prices did fall. The gold price fell heavily, stock prices fell heavily. in general, most economists were predicting big falls in house prices. Because I knew that the rich were going to make a fortune, I was able to see, well, actually, you know, all of these prices will go up a lot. So it was a massive trading opportunity, and I put a lot of money into buying assets at the beginning of COVID. Mainly gold, but you know, I bought a lot of things, and those things did go up, and I did make a lot of money. There was money to be made there because economists don't understand the significance of inequality. And at the same time as doing that, I wrote a lot of articles and I made videos basically saying that these things were going to happen, saying that asset prices would go up, saying that the gold price would go up. And some friends of mine saw the articles that I was putting out, and they said, hey, you know, like, I'm a bit worried because you're saying house prices are going to go up and I don't have a house. You know, what can I do? And, you know, I met up with them and I just told them what I was doing, which was, you know, I'm putting some bets on asset prices going up, and you can do that in these various ways. You know, full disclosure, I use gambling sites online to make my bets. And I told my friends I was doing that, and they said, well, you know, what are you betting on? And my big bet was that the gold price would go up. So I told these guys, you know, I'm betting the gold price will go up. And the gold price did go up. The gold price went up massively, and I made quite a lot of money. But what is interesting is, so I'm thinking of two friends now, they'll probably watch this video and laugh, who I told them that I'm betting on the gold price. And they went out and they did the same thing. And what is really interesting is what happened to both of these friends was quite similar, which was, I told them, okay, gold price is going to go up. This is how I'm betting on the gold price. This is how you do it. They went off and they bet on the gold price. And then the gold price went up and up and up and up and up. And eventually, maybe about 6 months later, it had quite a sharp fall. But it's still massively higher than when I put it on. So, you know, you're up money, but you've lost a bit of money. And both of my friends called me up separately, and they were like, oh my God, Gary, what do I do? And I was like, well, you know, you don't do anything. You know, we made a lot of money, and then we lost a bit of money, and overall we've still made a lot of money. And they were like, in both cases, they said, no, you don't understand that. I'm out. Like, I'm out. I've lost everything. And it was like, how have you managed to lose money when like the position is way above where I told you? And it's super interesting, like psychologically, both people did pretty much the exact same thing. I told them the gold price is going to go up, and initially they didn't do anything. And they waited for the gold price to go up quite a lot, and then they were like, oh my God, Gary was right, let's buy gold. Then they went in and they bought a load of gold, and then the price went up a bit further, and then now they've made a lot of money. And in both cases, they thought, oh my God, I'm a genius. I've got an amazing trade. And they started to put on loads and loads of trades which were nothing to do with anything that I told them, because they'd made a bit of money trading, and they started to develop this sort of false confidence in their ability as a trader. Even though they made money on exactly the trade that I advised them, they developed an overconfidence that meant they started to put a lot more trades on, put a lot more bets on, increase the size of their bets. And then when it came down a little bit, the other bets which they put on were basically to the same bet in other ways. Everything came down and they ran out of money. And that basically made me realize how dangerous it is to teach people how to trade, because trading is a crazy thing. And if you look at what these people did, it's quite mad what they did, right? Because they had a trading recommendation from me, like a formerly very successful professional trader. What they should have done is just done the thing that I told them to do. But they didn't do that, right? First, they didn't listen to the advice. They waited till it moved and then they got in. Then when it moved a bit further, they kind of thought it was because of their ability, and they developed a sort of false understanding, a false belief that they themselves are very good traders, when in reality they were just copying a tip that they got from me, and it was really just one trade, and they put a load of stuff on. So since then, we saw that the massive, what I think is a bubble in crypto, which did a similar thing to a lot of people, right? A lot of people got dragged into this thing. They bet on it going up. It did go up. They got overconfident. They made bigger bets, and then it collapsed, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. And I was worried about that happening. So I got in touch with a guy called Matt Zarb-Cousin. We've got an interview with him on the channel. And he runs an organization to help people with gambling addiction. And I said to him, look, I knew in COVID there'd been a massive increase in people using online trading platforms and also betting on cryptocurrencies. And I said to him, have you seen an increase in problem gambling, which is not coming through the traditional ways, sports gambling, online casino things, and is coming through online trading and cryptocurrencies? And he said, massively. We have seen a massive increase in people who are losing money online trading and cryptocurrencies. So then I saw then loads of people, at that time, crypto was still in a boom, right? And everybody was super excited about it. So I started talking about crypto on the news, trying to tell people to avoid it. We made a video about crypto on the channels, trying to tell people to avoid it. That is still my stance, is you should avoid it. I think it's an extremely dangerous investment. If you can, I wouldn't even call it an investment, really. And then I started getting messages from people who'd been getting involved in crypto. And very often, what the messages said were, you know, I got involved in trading crypto, and, you know, I was doing really well, but I made a mistake and I've lost all my money, and I was wondering if you could give me some advice on how to trade it in the future. And, you know, I want you to sort of sit back and think about that message, right? Because these are people who got involved in something which, you know, I think is just basically a fraudulent asset, doesn't really exist, it's pure con. They've lost all their money, and their plan is to keep trading it. You know, when I see this, you know, and whenever I get these messages, it's difficult to reply to all my messages nowadays, but when I get these ones, I try to take the time just to send them a message back saying, listen, you need to understand that what you have is a gambling addiction, and you need to stop doing that. You need to never trade crypto again. But what we have here is a situation where the way that these trading platforms are designed, they're designed to be very, very addictive. And they show you all these lines going up, lines going down, lots of information, lots of data, lots of charts you can draw lines on, lots of analysis you can do, lots of news. They want to give you the impression that you are a trader, you are an expert. But the truth is, when you watch some videos on YouTube and draw some lines on some charts, and you sit down at your laptop and you do online trading, you are competing against me. And you are competing against people like me who have been waking up at 5 a.m. every day for 15 years, reading thousands of emails, doing all the analysis with massive banks behind them, massive amounts of money behind them. And I think to think that you can make money trading, you know, just because even you watch my videos on YouTube, would be a little bit like me, you know, turning to Simran and saying, you know, I've been watching some videos on YouTube and I think maybe I can win the 100 meters at the Olympics next year. You know, like, it's difficult. And even I limit the amount of risk I take because I know, you know, I'm making the YouTube, I'm writing the book, I'm busy with stuff, and I don't have the time to throw into it. And that's even me. I have made money trading, but, you know, I've got a massive amount of cash in my bank account, you know what I mean? In my trading account, if I lose money, I can add more money in. So I think if you come in with, you know, 200, 300 grand and you are formerly an extremely successful professional trader, even then I'm saying you should be careful. But if you come in with 5, 10 grand and you've got no professional experience, number one, if you're coming in with 10, 15 grand, it's going to be impossible to make any realistic amount of money without taking insane amounts of risk. And number two, you're probably going to end up losing money because in the end, trading is a zero-sum game, right? And you need to ask yourself, who are likely to be the winners and who are likely to be the losers when it comes to you versus the professionals who have all the information and all the experience. So on IG Index, on the home page, they always show like the percentage of accounts that lose money. And I remember when crypto was at the very, very top, it came down to as low as 60%. Only 60% of accounts were losing money. Since the crypto collapse, 77% of accounts on that website lose money. And, you know, I'm on that website, I'm making money, I'm a professional, former professional with a lot of experience. You need to ask yourself, realistically, is this a way that I can make money, that we can make money? And my concern really is that websites like this are taking advantage of a situation where it's increasingly very, very difficult for ordinary people to make any decent money or even to get financial security, really. And at the same time, because there's so much inequality, we have to live in a world where, despite the fact you might not be able to make a lot of money and ordinary people are finding it really difficult to make money, there are a lot of super rich people around you and wealthy people who are normally getting that money from their parents. So that creates a situation where it's very, very difficult because ordinary people have to struggle whilst watching rich people all around them. And I think that creates a vulnerability that is really being exploited by these websites, selling you a dream like, well, get into our website, you can do trading, you can make a ton of money. And look, I would love to be able to sell you a bunch of trading tips and you go out there and you'll become millionaires. But look, if it was that easy, you know, I would be a lot richer than I am. You know what I mean? You know, I put a decent amount of money into trading and I make some money from it. And I don't put more because it's super difficult and it's too risky, you know, and that's someone like me who has money to lose. So, you know, investing is a different thing. There's already a video on the channel called Basics of Investing. I would encourage anyone, if it's possible, to try and save as much money as you can and build that up into real assets, stocks, gold, property if it's possible, whilst always understanding that even those investments can lose money and in many cases will lose money over shorter periods of time. I would encourage anyone to do that. If you want to know about investing, watch that video, but you need to understand trading is not investing. Trading is gambling. Trading is super dangerous. I was a professional trader and even I severely limit the amount of trading that I do because it's dangerous and because it's risky. So, you know, the reason that I do this channel is because I don't think it's possible for the majority of ordinary families to move to financial stability in a system which is gradually and increasingly quickly draining the wealth away from ordinary families and the middle class towards the super rich. I look at the system and say, here is a system which is guaranteeing poverty for most people. If we don't fix that, most people are going to be poor. And unfortunately, trading on the internet, from what I see, and you know, from what the number on IG Index tells me, for the majority of people, it's a losing proposition. Most people are losing money. And I see a lot of those people in my inbox, and I don't want you to be one of those people. And you know, I wish I could just put some tips here that are going to make you a millionaire, you know, and I can tell you the trades I've got on, you know, I'm betting that the gold price will rise in a number of currencies, right? But I've told people that tip before and they've gone and they've lost money. It is difficult. I wouldn't recommend it. If you want to know about investing, there's an investing video on this channel, Basics of Investing. We've worked with Conversation of Money before, who talks about personal finances. Of course, you can go and you can watch Martin Lewis. But the truth of the situation is we have a big systemic problem here, which is making ordinary people poorer and poorer. Increasingly, I think if ordinary people do not get involved in politics, they will lose all of their wealth. And I don't want that to happen. So I'm very sorry for not teaching you how to trade in this video. But the fact of the matter is, the economy is getting worse and worse, and you cannot escape that. You know, it's not viable as somebody with no experience in trading to think I will escape this by getting involved in trading. We're seeing a lot of people lose a lot of money by trying to do that. 77% of users of IG Index lose money. We're seeing a lot of people who are trying to get involved in crypto lose money. Look, there's a big systemic problem here. It's making everybody poorer, whilst the rich and the super rich get much, much richer. If we don't do anything about that, that's going to be you, your family, your community. So I want to stop that, and you know, I would like for you to support me. So let's try and make things better in a way that's actually going to work, instead of a way that's going to offer you money and end up bankrupting you, which is what it's doing to a lot of people. So yeah, trading's risky, but fixing the economy is something that could work for everyone. So let's work towards it. Thank you. Happy with that? We've created a generation of young men who have had wealth and financial success shoved down their throats for their whole childhoods and have no legitimate means of getting those things. There is one other thing they can do with that massive amount of income. They can buy your mum's house.